I start with some funny stuff. I always do. And watching realtors brag about selling over list price in 2022. This is still going on right now. I saw someone on Facebook bragging who got the highest in the neighborhood. I'm pretty sure everybody is getting the highest in the neighborhood. How listing agents look at all buyers agents in this market, bring me your highest and best peasants. This is getting dated really fast though. All I said was I need a realtor to help me sell my house. Realtors. This has to be my real estate guardian angel. When the new agent asks what days they get off. Never. Clients, I'm looking for something luxurious but not too expensive. Realtors, say no more. Now, this is the way the rest of the United States looks at California. Yeah, that's the way that they're looking at us, because we are the Louis Vuitton of all states, which is why the number of people coming to California is not like the number of people leaving California. People think it's all politics and all that stuff and homeless. I've heard it all, but the number one reason is because they have a lot of money. Their average net sheet, according to CA for Southern California, $310,000, which means they can go pretty much anywhere in the United States and just about pay cash or put a giant sizable down payment when the median sales price for across the United States is $400,000. So they have a healthy down payment. So, but they can't come here because in Orange County, we're pretty expensive. We're actually more expensive than Napa. So congratulations, you're like the Bay Area. I follow all the Bay Area as well. So buyers, I hope interest rates don't get any higher. Interest rates. Or I like this one. Real estate is like dating. The longer you're on the market, the more people wonder what's wrong with you. Millennials, come on, collapse. The real estate market, 2020, 21, 22. I'm hoping there isn't a fourth one around the corner. This is a electronic friend of mine. I haven't met him in person, but we've conversed a lot. He's an appraiser up in Sacramento. Seller's disappointed the property only sold $100,000 over the list price. Wild expectations. And this is the expectations even going through today of people coming on the market. And that's what my report's all about doing, is dialing their expectations back a little bit so that they match what the reality is. So let's get into my introduction. And I'm sure a lot of people know I now travel all over SoCal and soon to be the Bay Area. So not everybody knows my history. I'm a quantitative economics decision science major from UC San Diego, La Jolla. 31 years in business, Orange County native, Cal Poly high school grad, and I have 9 kids. These are my 9 kids. Check out the guy in the upper right. It's right there. This is actually the first thing he's gone to of mine. All my other kids go. Those are my Zooms, but the first thing, I actually bring my little kids down summer, and even my bigger kid that goes to Washington State University, which is where he went to, and that's him. He's summer break. He's about to turn 21 in about 3 weeks or 4 weeks, something like that. And he is going to a lot of my presentations. It's pretty fun to go with kids, right? So that's what they get to do over the summer. A lot of people want to go to the pool. Some of them instead, they want to come with me. Just hear my presentation yet again to see how it's changed. But we also have that little guy. So I brought, the story goes, I brought these and she brought those 2. We had them all the time. I adopted her, she adopted our youngest 2, and then we had Zeke. Zeke is 4 years old. We've been all over the press, from the Financial Times of London all the way to the New York Times, everywhere in between. Financial Times in London because Warren Buffett sold the house and they contacted me. And New York Times, I have no idea. It's just in Orange County at the time when they asked me about the real estate market. So, but now I've got a pretty good grasp for what's going on in the real estate market and other necks of the wood, because I follow many different markets. So our company is Reports on Housing. It's your local real estate snapshot. It's really about driving home the right around the neighborhood type of thing. I can tell you what's going on in Laguna Hills. I can tell you what's going on in Mission Viejo. That's all in the report. And there's power and strength to data, and it's properly set in the narrative because there is plenty of noise out there. Plenty. I even hear it from people in the industry. They already told me the way things are going to be. I mean, I speak at various companies. Some of the company execs are telling me the way the market is. I actually don't agree with some of the things they say. I'll show you what I believe is happening based upon all the stats and economics and all that stuff. So I get to see some long-term friends in person. I haven't seen Rita in a long time. Hi, Rita. So yes, I just follow everybody on Facebook instead, stalk them that way. Everything going on in Rita's life. So our reports, we don't really focus that much on closed sales data. I'll show you kind of what closed sales data is doing, but really instead, because that's the rear view mirror, I don't really care much about what's going on. We're not going to know about May till later on. I know what's going on in May. I've already put it in the latest report, but May is a reflection of the prior couple months. I don't really care about all that stuff because it doesn't set expectations of today. And today's expectations are wildly different than they were a few months ago, right? So instead, we're looking at the windshield, and it's the available number of homes to show, which I used to say none, and now there's some. So that's the good news, is there's more to show your buyers. And it's also the demand. So it's available number of homes, that's supply. Demand, snapshot of the last 30 days worth of contracts. That's what I'm looking at. Contract activity. So pendings and active under contract. You can argue as to what those two mean, but contracts were made. And then speed of the market based upon homes supply and demand. I can tell you what the speed of the market is and where we're at right now. And this is why I have a big problem with what a lot of people are saying is what's going on in the house market. Same thing I heard when we went into the pandemic. A lot of the negative noise as to everything is going to hell in a handbasket. Properties are going to go down in price in the next 90 days. They're going down right now. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it based upon the numbers that I'm seeing and the stories that you get to tell me that are just awful, atrocious. Still the froth that we're dealing with in the marketplace. Our reports are they're used for the buyer's consultation, the seller consultations, and also to get price reductions. This is the year of the price reduction. It's coming back. I'll show you the latest stats on it. As of yesterday morning, it's to get buyers off the fence because they're saying dumb things right now. But wait for prices to come down. They think it's going to be like a great recession. Even if prices come down, it's not going to be if the longer they wait. What's happening right now? Interest rates are going up. So does anybody know exactly where interest rates are going from here? Because who knew that they were going to get in the sixes today? I hear some people say, yeah, they're getting to the sevens. Somebody's bound to be right, because I also hear some people say it's going to get back into the fours. Somebody's going to be right, and they're all making guesses. So I haven't heard one shrewd economist forecast this accurately. So get buyers off fence, stop talking about tops of the market and stuff like that. And then it is just to close more transactions by properly setting expectations of everybody, because everybody has an opinion. My dad has an opinion. My kids have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion, right? So let's set expectations. And we have reports about all over Southern California. So you take a listing someplace else, you can get it. We're about to launch probably in July. It's been so busy this year that it keeps on getting pushed back a little bit. The Bay Area can wait, but I do have people that want to subscribe. It's coming. It's the Bay Area. And next, beginning of this coming up year, which is quickly upon us, right? It's already in June. We'll be in Phoenix and also Vegas. And now I'm starting to do the Sacramento area on accident because somebody's flying me out to Sacramento to speak. So I now know what the numbers look like in Sacramento because I need to know what I'm talking about. The reports, some of the reports over this year, unprecedented start. So 2013 was the most ridiculous year we ever had. And the beginning of last year was the most ridiculous year that we ever had. And then this year was by far the most ridiculous year. By far. I remember when you said, how's the listing inventory going to go down even more? And it exceeded my expectations of how low it got. Got down to 954 listings for all of Orange County at the beginning of this year, which is ridiculous. And rising rates versus no inventory. So this is one where I read the economic books. I heard people say, yeah, this is going to be different this time. I'm going, no, it's not. Rising rates is going to beat out no inventory. And that's kind of what's happening. Going on, gone. So I still talked about auction-like atmosphere back in February. So we were dealing with auctions. We still had nothing on the market. And then will it slow in 2022? I mapped out what needed to happen for it to continue to slow. That's exactly kind of what happened based upon what I was talking about back then. And out of control. So last year I called it an unhealthy market. This year I called it an out of control market. Because that's what it was definitely at the beginning of the year when you were telling me that people were writing offers $200,000 over the list price. That to me was ridiculous. And if you have anybody that's doing that right now, tell them to stop. They can wait like 2 months. They definitely do not need to do that. Housing cracks. So I'm going to talk about cracks. And cracks doesn't mean we're a buyer's market. Cracks means the market's shifting, it's changing. and unexpected slump in demand. So we did have a slump in demand. The sky not falling, because then everybody started to go really negative on it. I need to like redo this report over and over again because still everybody's going extremely negative on it. And affordability challenges. So this is two back. This is talking about affordability. I'll give you what the affordability metric looks like based upon interest rates of like 5.25, 5.5. Now they're a little bit different. It's going to totally change things. I haven't even updated it for this yet. I didn't want to look at it. Summer slowdown. So this is the one that just came down, and it came out yesterday. San Diego actually gets theirs tonight. Summer slowdown is just basically homes that are sitting on the market. We're starting to see more homes hit the 30-day plus mark. Not as many in the 60, but that's going to grow. It's only 20% of Los Angeles County right now. It's like 12%. Orange County has been on the market for 60 days plus. This is going to grow. And it's something I will be following. It has been quite the whirlwind tour. I'm doing 3 presentations today just because of the way the market's been. The market is really insane, and I cannot get enough of it. Don't get me wrong, it's my gig. Some people golf. I love pouring over the numbers. It's absolutely insane how much I like to look at numbers and listen to people talk about it. I like to listen to opinions. I don't necessarily agree with everything. You throw me at something that you've seen that you think, oh my gosh, Stephen, check out this. I will watch it, and typically there's no merits to it. And the people that are the loudest are the people that are working on Wall Street. They have no idea because their neck of the woods is not looking good, right, for Wall Street. But does that mean the overall economy is definitely crashing? According to them, yes, but no, not necessarily. It's actually still too hot, which is why we got that inflation read, and the Fed still needs to do more. So go to reportsonhousing.com, you click on subscribe. It's $15 per month, $150 per year. It's intentionally cheap so that you wonder why in the world you don't have it. There's another friend. Oh my gosh, I love being live with people in the room. So first month free if you sign up utilizing this card authorization. By the way, who subscribed in this room? Pretty awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is the year, if you're not a subscriber, that you're going to need the report because it's like a roadmap. Google Maps gets me wherever I need to be, and I can rely on it. That's kind of the way the housing report's going to be, because the way I'm looking at it is constantly taking a look at what's going on right now and extrapolating out forward as to where we're going. And it is really what you're feeling in the marketplace. And I can kind of from that be able to tell you where we're going for the rest of the year type of thing. But as far as projecting where we're going to be next year, not yet. I'll know that probably right around September. I'll have a really good feel for 2023. And my feel is changing. Why is it changing? Because there's an evolution of what's going on in the marketplace and economic data.
Do you have a coupon code?
I do. Yeah, I think it's OC. I think it's OC. It's not OC Realtor. It's OC Board. OC Board. You can do that right now on your phone. You get it. But that's just for today. OC Board. So where are rates headed? Yeah, I had to update this, and Tyler updated me. It's even higher than this. So there we go. This was as of yesterday, and you can see that it was coming back down. It actually got down to 5.25%, and then it spiked up. And I go to Mortgage News Daily. The reason why I go to Mortgage News Daily is because how many times do rates change? I've got some others. It changed a couple times during the day. It's like it's constant, isn't it? It's the good old days are back. We've been here before where we had to look at rate sheets constantly, and that's where we're at again. You have to look at rate sheets. They're constantly changing and moving, and you can see where interest rates are. I mean, this goes back to 2009. You got to go way back. 6.18% was where it was as of yesterday. Where is it as of today? What was it, Kyler? 6.28. So 6.25. So November of 2008 was the last time we were at right here. November of 2008.
That was such a good year.
Yeah. There's big differences between what happened then and what's happening right now. Giant. I will get into the cataclysmic difference. But anyways, this is, I can't even see how high it goes because they didn't update their chart, so I updated it for them. This is how much of a change we've had in our interest rate so far. 90% change in interest rates so far as of yesterday. Now it's even higher. But this is the change in interest rates for the whole entire year, for each year going back to 2011. See the difference? We haven't really felt this in a long time. As a matter of fact, we haven't felt it since 1981. In 1981, interest rates went from 12.85% to 18.63%. So consider yourself lucky. We're talking interest rates in sixes. And at the beginning of the year, I didn't think we were going to talk about the interest rates in the sixes. I can tell you that right now. But so what in the world is going on? Well, inflation. Inflation's going on, and this is as of what came out on Friday. That's that. You can see how it went down and then it went back up. That red thing, is where the problem is. That headline inflation is at 8.6%. It was too hot. It was going the wrong direction. They thought it was supposed to be coming down now, and it exceeded expectations of everybody across the United States. Core is 6%. Where do they want core to be? 2%. The core takes out volatility of food and fuel. That's almost dumb because I don't know about you, but I need fuel and I need food. So, and I know milk from last month to this month went up like 13%. So there's like this big change. It's like these big changes that are going on that affects every single person in this room, unless you're lactose intolerant. And war in Russia and Ukraine, that was a big disruptor. And the disruptor we felt right away was at the gas pump. And that will continue to be a problem for a long time, and it is exasperating. The number one problem, the reason why we're having inflation is not because they lined our pockets with money. All the reserves around the world. That's not what it is. Number one is supply chain issues. That's number one. Number two is the Ukraine war. Number three now is China. China. Why China? Because China is having a real problem with COVID. And that's because they have vaccines, and their vaccines weren't like ours. It's like a third world vaccine, and it's not kept up with everything. So their vaccine does not touch any of these new strains that are coming around. So now they have a problem in China. And China is where we get a lot of our goods from, and their ports are shut down because no one can work. So it's caused further disrupting the supply chain. And so is the breadbasket of of Europe and the world, Ukraine. So between those two forces, it's further exasperating the issue, and inflation is going to be a problem probably for this whole decade, is what they're saying. It's going to come down, but it's going to come up. It's going to be one of those things where it's going to be volatile. And I'm listening to some extremely smart people that know inflation. So as far as the gas pump, you realize how much it costs to fill up your gas tank. And right now it's pretty bad. I have a Yukon XL with my family, and we were filling it up, and there was a tank in a gas station in Los Angeles that was stopping at $75. Yeah. Seriously, I had an empty tank. That's I have to put it in 3 times in order to fill up my tank, because it's like $180 to fill up Yukon XL. So congratulations to me. May of 2021, the average family $2,800 per year annualized for how much fuel they're spending. And March it went up to $3,800. In May it's at $5,000. You see the difference? This is discretionary money that is no longer there, and that they're losing. They're losing, and for a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck, this is an issue. So, and then you guys notice inflation with that gas pump, and you knew right away, and that makes us do psychologically different things. And that's what's a big disruptor. But we've been paying inflation for a while. That's why when you go to the grocery store, everybody's sitting there looking at the receipts about like 4 things. How come it's $100? That's what they're trying to figure out. And this is very common because this real inflation is at the grocery store. I don't know if Costco for us, it definitely is a big difference for us. And so because of all this, we're going to see a change in retail spending. Retail spending is actually down right now. Net, as far as dollars are concerned, we're spending more. But as far as how many goods we're getting less. And that's going to affect retail sales down the road. And Federal Reserve, they are way behind the 8 ball. They are truly behind the 8 ball. They should have been doing something last summer, and they knew best because they have teams and teams of economists that are pouring over the stuff. They're right now in a hurry up offense mode right now. They're kind of like the Cincinnati Bengals with like 10 seconds left. It's not looking good. And the Fed rate hikes, so they've been doing rate hikes. They started that in March. And now the big question is, are they going to go 0.75% tomorrow? And consensus is yes. So, and if it was supposed to be no, Federal Reserve, the Fed usually speaks about different things to slow down expectations and to slow things down. They're letting everything go. And they want the market to be disrupted, especially real estate, because real estate got way ahead of themselves. And that's why I thought that they should have done something last year, because then we were driving down to nothing on the market and it was a true problem. So they've done the Fed rate hike. We've already had a quarter and a half. We're going to get either half or 3/4 tomorrow. Consensus is 3/4 and then another half next month. So they're going up faster. That's because of the latest inflation report. Now they're it's a little bit worse than we thought. We're going to have to do even more. And that's why they've priced that in. And that's why you've got this big bump in 30-year mortgages. Fed tapering, they're starting this month. Actually, they tapered down to 0 in March. They tapered their mortgage-backed security purchases. As far as Fed balance sheet draining, they started this month. Last time, in 2013, they announced that they were going to taper down to 0, and they did not do it until 2014. And we had a big tantrum and all that stuff, and interest rates spiked in 2013. And they actually didn't do it until 2014. But once they were done with it, it wasn't until 3 years later, 2017, that they drained the balance sheets. And they could do that. They could do that really fast because we're all paying mortgages that they hold. They hold like 3/4 of all that conventional market, 3/4 of it. And as we make payments or pay off homes, because you sell homes, they're taking that money and they're putting it right back in the system at the tune of about $50 billion per month. They're going to stop doing that. And they stopped doing that in 2017, and they're stopped doing that now. Now you wonder, what does that have to do with anything we do? Mortgage-backed securities, they need to purchase them when they sell them, and that the rates that they give you is what people are purchasing them at. Right now, there's not a lot of interest, so rates are going up higher, so there will be more interest. That's why we're seeing this big spike in interest rates right now. And they started balance sheet drain off this month, actually last week. So it's here, and they're doing a lot. They've even thrown in the kitchen sink. And they are trying to thread the needle because they don't want to cause recession, but they want to bring down inflation. Their number one objective right now is to bring down inflation, even if it causes a recession. But I understand, as far as recession, I hear a lot of people say we're already in a recession. We're not already in a recession. There are 6 flags that I'm following, and a lot of economists follow different things. The 6 things that I'm following are: Fed raises the short-term rate. They did that. We're getting too hot. Number 1 flag. This is all this year. Unemployment rate drops below 4%. That happened this year. We're at 3.6% right now. Employment land is too strong. And inverted yield curves, 2s and 10s. Somebody said it inverted this week. I don't know. They're already inverted. So there's already a flag of mine. And retail sales dropping and supply spike due to weaker demand. Who knew that supplies are going to spike until Target announced that they had lots of supplies, and then because they waited, 25% drop in their stock because they ordered a whole bunch of stuff and it sat on the coast of Long Beach in tankers, and they couldn't get it, so they brought it by smaller boats and airplanes, and they brought it all over here so that we could have great holidays. And then after the holidays were done, all those boats were unloaded, and then they got more Christmas PJs and all that type of stuff, that now you can get all that stuff. Now they have way too much stuff and they're sitting on inventory. So they have too much inventory, and that is a drag on retail. So that's negative. Leading economic indicators fall 4 to 6 months straight. It's only fallen for a month and only slightly. We have to see this thing really come down. So leading economic indicators is a basket of economic things that we're following. And it has to go down for a while before you get to a recession. You're feeling like it's a recession, so it's not. Housing starts fall 2 quarters straight. That hasn't happened even for a quarter yet. So that has to happen for a while before we start to see that flag go up. So I don't call it a recession until we see all these flags go up. And recessions actually don't equal a housing crisis. So only 2 out of the last 6 recessions did housing values go down. Guess what? Everybody compares everything in 1981 when inflation was so bad. Look at 1981. Still went up 3.5%. Inflation was more, so you're like losing a little bit of money because of inflation, but still it was appreciating at 3.5%, single digits, but still up. And 1991 was the savings and loan scandal, so we caused it, and then we paid for it. And then the Great Recession, yeah, we caused that, and we really paid for that one because that was even worse than the savings and loan scandal. It was awful. And then Wall Street participated and we did a lot of negative things. Job market is really, really too strong. There are 11 million job openings and there are only 0.6 people for every job opening. So there's no such thing as a 0.6 person. So what the Fed's trying to do is slow down our economy so that the number of job openings starts to diminish so that they're at least on par, 1-to-1. So it's right now, it's too hot. So that means that labor is in charge of the labor market right now. And that's what is happening right now, which is why you hear about the great resignation. Everything's great all of a sudden. It's like a great deceleration. I think that's another term that they're using. Everything's great now since the Great Recession. Because everybody remembers the Great Recession, so it sells. Where do I think interest rates are going to be? Well, because of this latest CPI print, I had changed this. Now 5 to 6.5% is where we're going to play for the remainder of the year. And at 5%, it's going towards a balanced market. That's where we're making our way, but we're still in seller's market line. At 6.5%, it's making its way towards the buyer's market. And this is the first time I said it was as of this morning, because after analyzing everything, that's what it's looking like. And it just has to do with affordability and the or lack thereof affordability. So, but if you want to know exactly where interest rates are going to go, I invite you to join me to play darts with interest rates on it after drinking lots of beers. And we'll figure out exactly where interest rates are going to go. Sounds like fun. Maybe we'll do it. So the housing market. That looks crazy. It really has been like this for like 2020, 2021, even 2022. It feels like this. It's been just absolutely insane. And now it's a different kind of insane. And supply and demand, I follow all that. I talk about it a lot. And we shrunk down to very few homes on the market. If you look at where we are even today, compared to long term, it's a supply catastrophe. I called it a supply crisis. I changed it at the end of last year to supply catastrophe, and because it really is. And this is detached homes across the United States. This is from Altos Research. This is the number of homes available right now as of this morning, or as of Monday, 396,463. Actually, it says as of June 10th, so I guess they analyze it from June 10th. So if you look backwards, we hit an all-time low of 241,000 on March 7th of this year. Last year was a low of 307,000. At this time last year, we were at 342,000. We have more homes in the market than last year at this time, so which is good. And we did that. That's the first time. It started about a few weeks ago. It's the first time since 2019 that there are more homes in the market than the prior year. But where are we typically? This is during the pandemic. At this time, 698,000. It was coming down because that's when not enough homes were coming on the market. But in 2019, we were at 937,000 homes in the market. About 1 million homes in the market is where we should be. And during the Great Recession, guess how many homes were on the market during the Great Recession? 4 million homes. So you can see the difference, million to 4 million. 4 million is where it has to be for values to come down 20 to 30%. Like so many people want that to happen. Yet we're only at 396,000. Where are we going to get all those listings from? That's my big question. So there's a seasonality to the marketplace. Spring is the best. Spring's done. My kids are in my house right now. So summer begins, even if it hasn't officially begun. It's here. And then it's much easier to drive around town now too, because they're not all as cool. So summer is next, then autumn, and then winter is the fourth slowest season, and the slowest season is the holidays. That's in terms of new homes coming on the market and new escrow activity. Slowest month is December for both. And we're in summer, and this is where inventory climbs and demand slowly falls. Spring is when the demand slowly it climbs as well, but we didn't get that this time because we had interest rates that were going up at the same time. But we are definitely in this season right now because there's distractions. This weekend I have 2 weddings I'm going to. Who's going to a wedding this summer? Seriously, look at the hands. If I asked you that in 2020, no hands would be up. So it's all pent up wedding demand. And those are distracting if you're a buyer. You can't really see houses if you're going someplace fun for a weekend. And the number 1 month for homes coming to market in Orange County is the month of May. Then number 2 is April, then March, then it is June and July. Fortunately, we don't place a lot of homes on the market in August like some other counties like San Diego. It doesn't make sense because you need to be in escrow by the end of July for it to close over the summer, because we do this based upon families. Not all people are families, but that's when do you want to place your home in the market? When it's matched up against the greatest number of buyers in the marketplace? That's during the spring. And also summer, but by the time you get to August, my kids are going back to school. Brendan's going back to WSU on August 11th. So you don't really do moves when the kids are back in school. And that's why it rolls the way it does. So I'm going to point out cracks in the market. Understand this doesn't mean it's a buyer's market. It just means that we went from this is what we were doing for 2 years. We were definitely speeding at a ridiculous speed. And now we're just shifting to 40 miles per hour. And I made that analogy in this last report. It's like when you go on a long road trip and then all of a sudden you get off the freeway and you're getting to get gas and you need to stretch your legs. It feels like you're like not moving, but you are. You're moving. That's what the market's doing right now. It's still going forward. It's just not at the same velocity that everybody's used to. And it doesn't mean that it's a bubble. It doesn't mean it's a crash. Instead, there's a missing ingredient. Anybody have an idea what the missing ingredient is? Supply. We're missing supply. We still don't have supply in order for it to be a bubble or a crash like everybody's talking about. It's a slowdown, and it's a slowdown because we have interest rates rising and it's happening with duration. This is my recipe for when the market slows. And you can see it here, and this was as of last Thursday, and it's off the charts again with the interest rates. This happened in 2013 and in 2018. This is 2013, the green line. Dotted line is mortgage rates in 2013. Dotted line yellow is mortgage rates in 2018. I mean, 2022, this year. So you can see what's happened. It's gone way up, and what it's doing is it's pulling up the inventory. Why? Because now a whole bunch of buyers are saying, not doing it. So we have buyer demand falling, and then you have the inventory rising and market times rising. And how are we getting that inventory rise? On the backs of dogs. So no offense, Rita, but properties that smell like a dog, look like a dog, and are a dog need to be priced like a dog. And that means that you need to bring the price down to the right level, because it's all. Now you can get away with pricing one of these houses that needs work on the market. And during 2020 and 2021, you could stretch the ask price. Nothing's on the market, so you still get 30 offers on the house because nothing's on the market. And somebody's actually going to overpay for that thing. And then the next person's going to do it, and the next person's going to do it. That's how this market's been rolling. But now you get this house that's needs work, and you get another one that doesn't need work. They're identical. Which one are you purchasing right now? The price is the same. The one that doesn't need work, right? So that's what's going on with, they need to be properly priced, which means they need to come down in value, readjust their values. And then properties in inferior locations that back up to a busy street, that have airplane noise, that back up to electrical lines, that there's, you name it, you know what I'm talking about. These are the properties that during the last 2 years, you were getting away with overpricing these properties and still getting lots of offers on them. But now if you have a property that backs up to this freeway back here, which is loud, what will happen is there's two homes that are like for like, priced the same. One backs up to this freeway and the other one's an interior location. Which one is going to sell immediately? The one that does not back. So you need to adjust that one that backs down in price. And on the backs of overpriced listings, this is your sign. Actually went to RESS Signs, got this made, and they had fun with it. I actually went with my daughter to pick these up, and I said, yeah, I'd like to pick up my overpriced signs. And my daughter said, Dad, that was rude. And she went back to go get it.
Oh.
Then they brought my overpriced signs. Joke was on Mia. So she was there for spring break when I picked them up, but these have been popular. By the way, you give me your card at the end, I'll pull, one of you guys can take this. Because this is, there are a lot of people that are overpriced because they still think it's gonna behave like 2020, 2021, and it's not. So you bring this into the listing presentation, you put this on the desk and you say, Stephen Thomas told me to bring this. He's a quantitative economics decision science housing analyst, and he said we're gonna have a lot of overpriced listings, so I'm just properly setting price expectations. Just use it like that. I don't want to have to use this sign because they're going to find some agent to overprice their property, but you want them to make the proper decision. And you can talk about this because we have the stats. The stats are here. Because this is what sellers want to do. They want every last dollar and they want more. I'm just going to test the market. That is the dumbest thing you could do, is test the market right now. This is not a market to test. You could test away the last 2 years. Today, can't test. You're going to actually, you're not going to get that just listed banner on, and then you're going to reduce the price. Someone's going to wonder what's wrong with it. And you're not going to get as much activity on the property. It's a proven fact. And I actually can show statistically that when you reduce the price, you actually get less. Can't show it yet. I have to have more data that shows it in time. I'll be able to show you probably later on this year. I'll do a report based upon that. So, but there is a big but, and that is that there's still not enough homes coming on the market. There's still an inventory issue. The issue is, if I compare everything to 2017 through 19 prior to COVID, I'll talk about this 3-year average. And the number of homes that came on the market in Orange County in 2020 was off by 5%. Matter of fact, that month of April, we put 50% fewer homes on the market compared to that 3-year average because of the COVID. There's a lot of people that didn't place their homes on the market, missing 1,800 homes for 2020. In 2021, we're missing 2,400 homes. And in January and May of this year, we're missing 17% or 3,100 homes in the market so far. It's not COVID that's causing this. And you can see it right here. I follow all the numbers. You can see those are the orange line is this year. The green line was 2020. If you're wondering why it was so low in April. Like I said, we placed 50% of the normal number of homes on the market, but there's a new trend that has come, and it was where will I go? That's not a problem anymore. There's more homes on the market right now, so that's quickly faded, and instead it's rising home prices and rising mortgage rates equal. Man, you know what? I'd love a fixed low rate, and most everybody has, and they feel like prisoners in their own home. They can't move now. These are wooden bars, by the way. She can drive right through it. If she had to move, she can move, but she feels like she can't move, to get the analogy there. So they're not necessarily in love with their home, they're in love with their loan. And I can show you the math, what it looks like. And I had to update this one too, because this is so old. It's like got 5.45% interest rate in here. It's like what, 6.25 today. So, but purchased, this is real. This happened in Mission Viejo. Bought a house for $665,000 in 2015. They refinance, have 3%, 90% LTV, $2,523 per month. Their property taxes were $610 per month, total monthly of $3,133. So $3,100. Sold mid-March for $1 million. It's a true story. 7 years later, net proceeds $388,000. So they want to purchase a little bit bigger because they need a home office. New purchase 1.2 million. Now they put in a 3% loan because that's what they had, $380,000 down, and it's about $3,500 per month. It's $1,100. Property taxes total monthly is $4,557 per month. The difference is $1,424. They're making more 7 years ago that they purchased this house, so they can afford to do that. Annual increase of $17,000. Now, this is where I got to update this slide, because now they're going to purchase 1.2, but did they find out they needed their loan, their lender, it's 5.45% so long ago, like last week, $380,000. Now, I don't want to do this for 6%, but 4,630, property taxes of 1,100, 5,730, and now you're looking at $2,597 per month plus. That's extra per month, $31,000 per year extra.
It's almost double.
It's now double. It's double now because it's at 6.25%. So when I redo this, I'm pretty sure it's going to be double of what they're paying. So that's why a lot of people are going to, yeah, you know what I'm not going to do? It's a red flag. The red flag is this. This is Orange County. This is 5.44%. Like I said, I got to update these slides. 68% of the median median income is being devoted right now in Orange County to exhausting the monthly mortgage debt. This is off the charts, and it just grew because now I got to plug in 6.25%. So you can see that, and this isn't your average, right? Because we got a lot of millennials that are purchasing, and they're dual income, they're completely different. They've got money in the bank, and they're still out there. There are still buyers that are buying and all that stuff in this marketplace because they want to buy, and then they look at how much their payment's going to be. They look how much they're affording to go purchase. That's what's happening. Why are millennials doing it? Because they're getting married. They don't want to live with a whole bunch of people anymore, and they're getting married, having babies the way that everybody does. So they're doing that like nobody else's business. Matter of fact, the strongest demographic patch of first-time home buyers ever is happening right now. Started a couple years ago. It's going this year and it'll go for the next 2 years. So just know that that's off the charts. And I compare it in time. You can see this in 2012, 33% of the income. And you have to understand, this is according to the median income, it's actually 1.5. The average home buyer is making 1.5 times the median income. So that brings these down a little bit, but still, it's a big portion of the monthly payment. This couple is just going to stay put. They're fine. Don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them, even though they're stuck in their house, because they've been buying for a long time with great credit. When you've been dealing with 30 offers, the survival of the fittest Darwinism takes over, and you're taking the best offer, which is typically somebody with money in the bank to cover an appraisal issue, or has a wealthy parent that's help augmenting their down payment, things like that. And they have good credit scores. This is 760 plus credit scores. It's light blue. And so they're really sitting in a very, very good place with a good job. You look over here, this is prior to the Great Recession. See the mixed bag of credit scores of people purchasing, and it was bad back then, because there were people with credit scores of less than 620 that were purchasing. Very, very vulnerable. You have a tiny little fraction over here on the right-hand side versus the left. And actually during that time, that's when 2 dogs purchased a house and a bunch of dead people. So when you have, and we did pick a payment plans, we did teaser rates where you actually qualify based on teaser rates, and then they adjust, they couldn't afford it. There was a lot of things we did. Fog and mirrors, 0% down. There's so many bad things that we did back then. It's nothing like that anymore. We actually have to qualify for a loan. And that we built on the backs of dead people and dogs. That's where we built this equity over here, that hump. This equity right here on good credit scores. And so people are in good jobs, money in the bank. So we're sitting with the strongest amount of tappable equity ever in the United States history. That means you can tap your equity and have 20% still at the end of the day. We've never had this much tappable equity. And that's what it's at right now. $40 trillion. There's going to be no panic selling. Who's going to panic sell? Because, yeah, you know what, I'm going to sell my house. What are you going to do? Rent? How's that working out for everybody right now? Because we have a very, very low occupancy rate across the United States, or vacancy rate. So we have a really low vacancy rate, and Orange County is one of the top in the nation. That's the lowest vacancy rate. Very, very hard to rent something here in Orange County. So supply in Orange County, that's a crack. And the crack is that it's changing. We're actually getting more supply at a very, very rapid pace. That's the orange line. As of last Thursday, we're crossed over 3,000 homes. Remember, we were less than 1,000 to start off the year. We're over 3,000 right now. It went up 13% or 362 homes, which is the second largest increase of the year in the last 2 weeks. And it's been up 221% or 2,105 homes so far in 2022. That means triple. We've tripled. And last year we were at 2214. That's the red line. That's 28% fewer, or 845 fewer homes on the market last year. We crossed over that threshold at the end of April for the first time since 2019. And 3-year average is 6,501. That is 113% higher. So that's double. We're just trying to get to average prior to COVID. But that's shrinking. It was quadruple. Now it's only double. So you can see it's shrinking. We're getting there. We're making our way back towards trend. This is the inventory. I love Orange County because I go back to 2004 and I've had the numbers every single 2 weeks. So if I draw a line across, we're not even at 2013 levels yet of inventory. 3,154 homes was the low in 2013. We haven't even got to 2013. We have a long way to go. See that Himalaya over there? Great Recession. 18,000 homes on the market. We have 3,000 on the market right now. So 6 times where we are today. For it to go down 20 or 30% like everybody's talking about right now. Not going to happen. Inventory instead is going to continue to go here. And it typically peaks between July and the middle of August. Not this year. I've seen the economic playbook before, because you're going to list a lot of homes over the summer and they're going to be overpriced. And they're going to sit on the market and languish. They're not going to sell. They're going to be overpriced. Yeah. Yeah, not all of you, but lots of people are going to take these and they're going to accumulate and they're going to stay on the market because somebody will list it and it will peak all the way between October and Thanksgiving. Like San Bernardino Riverside will be right at Thanksgiving and Orange County and San Diego will be in October. That's where we are going to peak. And it's going to probably surpass 2019 levels at the end of the year, which is good. And then after that, it will just plummet because you'll get a lot of cancellations, expires, and withdrawals, tons at the end of the year. It's coming. It's a big wave. And price cuts. So all these overpriced listings have changed their price across the United States. That was last year, 2021, across the US. You can see as the year progresses, when you start getting towards July, we get more and more price reductions. But we are changing right now rapidly, and it's at 25.5% of the entire housing stock has reduced their price right now, and that's according to Altos research. And Orange County is at 27%. 27% of the market right now. So if you've got some buyer that wants to overpay, have them go after these people instead, because these people are not going to get as much activity. Something's wrong with it, but not necessarily. How about this one? And this is interesting too, also from Altos. I'm going to have to add them because they didn't have it on the source. This is first time I'm using the slide, but the number of increased prices. So at the start of this year, it was 7%. It was making its way towards 8% of all listings actually increased their price after coming on the market. It's dropping now down to, it's like 3.1%. And in 2020, at the same time, it was at 3.1%. So very similar to that, but it's continuing to drop, and it will continue to drop this year. But there's still properties that are selling instantly. 26,000 homes last week sold instantly, coming on the market and instantly going into escrow. So that's still happening. So all those people that think it's a buyer's market, why are homes selling instantly? Because there's plenty of buyers out there that are still wanting to win, and they haven't been winning before, and now they're winning right now. So Orange County demand snapshot of 30 days with escrow activity was that, but not anymore. That's faded. And instead, we're getting this. I've seen this. There's my house down the street. It's listed at $1.5 million. This house down the street from me, it's not $1.5 million. And it's been an open house for 4 weekends straight. 4 weekends straight with open house. And we're starting to see this is Ladera Ranch. I made it up though. I just did this in Photoshop, but you guys get the point. Now we have open house signs and they're staying. And it was interest rates that were driving demand, but that's no longer the case. It's scarcity is still driving this because there's still not enough homes on the market. It's still driving it. It's like when we didn't have toilet paper. My family didn't have toilet paper either because somebody else was hoarding it. And we got one of those big rolls from my father-in-law from his pizza place. And we still have it in the pantry. If you ever need some, we got plenty of toilet paper. So, but you're willing to pay extra for something that's scarce. And that's the whole idea behind scarcity, kind of like the supply chain problem. That's why we have values or commodity prices going up. Same thing with market adjustment fee for cars. Now cars have actually gone up $10,000 in the last year across the board. $10,000. Why? Not enough cars, and we're going to continue to have a problem with cars for quite some time because we need neon gas to make microchips. Neon gas comes from #1 place. No, not China.
Russia?
No, Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yeah, Ukraine. So everything's selling. See, there's a lot that was selling for over asking. Everything that CAR is reporting on a monthly basis is like dated. So they released this because everything was like an auction. But that meant that there's still a lot of fraud. I do not subscribe to fraud because if you're going to overpay $200,000 and the values are going to go from 20% appreciation down to 5% annualized single digits, that means in a year it will go up 5% at best. So if it goes up 5% over a year, and yet some of these people are paying like 4% above the asking price, they're going to be way over their skis, paying way too much. And then there's going to be later on this year, some buyer's going to come and look at a house, and there's going to be a whole bunch of comps. They're going to look at this one that's really high, and then they're going to look at everybody else. They're going to want to pay what everybody else did, and not that really high one. And that really high person's going to be stuck. That's going to take them a long time. So that's overpaying for a house. That's happening right now. So I would let your buyers know, don't do that. they still might want to do that, but that's on them. You at least advise them that they should not do that because it's not a smart thing for their family, unless they're going to stay in it long term. Who really cares, right? That's what some people are thinking. So this is from CAR. This is the number of homes that sold above their asking price for the month of April. 72.8% new record, all-time record. And that's all of California in the month of April. All sales, 72.8% sold above their asking price. And the median time on market was 8 days. And the sales list price ratio is 104.2. And Orange County was that's like 106. So we were paying way over asking price for houses. And this is the mortgage application, purchase application, that kind of tells you what's happening with demand. This is that yellow gold line. I'm going to circle it right here. That is purchase application data on a weekly basis, and that's what it's done so far this year. It's been dropping compared to prior years. Not as low as some of the other years. This is 2011 on, but it's getting down there as far as we still have a lot of purchase applications, a lot more than a lot of people think, but it's down 7% week over week. This thing comes out again tomorrow, and it's down 21% year over year. Now that it's in 20% tile, we're definitely having like 1/5 less activity in the marketplace, and it kind of shows in the purchase application data now. It wasn't showing before. This is as of last Monday. This is prior month. This is from Black Knight. Across the United States, this is the national payment to income ratio, and it's at 33.7%. I draw a line across, the last time it was here was prior to the Great Recession. But know this, that prior to the Great Recession, we were doing subprime pick a payment plan and all that stuff. This time, when it's getting this high, what's it doing to demand? This is backing off. Because we don't have loan products to just stick somebody in there and make up the missing demand, because that's what we did prior to the Great Recession. So instead, we're just slowing down more. And this was with interest rates in the 5s. Now we have in the 6. This is going to surpass that. I don't even want to see this report next month. So there's another crack, and that is demand. Last 30 days of contract activity. And you can see June 9th, last Thursday, 2020 is the number of pending sales. It's going to go below 2,000 shortly. It went down 4% or down 93 pending sales in a 2-week period of time. And last year we were at 3,057, which is 51% higher than where we are today, and extra over 1,000 pending sales at this time. Snapshot. March 31st to June 9th, we went down 12% in demand. That's where we peaked in March 31st and then came down. That's shedding 266 when we normally go up 4% during that time period. And instead, we went down 12%. So you see, that's a differential of 16%. And the 3-year average is 2766, 37% higher, or 746 extra pending sales prior to COVID. Now, the difference this time is that we are matching muted demand against what? Muted supply. That's the big difference. So that's why the market can still feel hot in the marketplace. I know it still does if you price it right. That's it. Buyers are shrewd. They learned from the Great Recession. They don't want to do it again, so they want to pay according to the comps. They're not overpaying right now. And this is where it typically peaks, but it peaked prior to this because of rising rates. And where it's going to go? It's going to go continue to trail down. We'll just have to. I'm interested to see which angle this takes because of the recent rise in interest rates. So how fast is this market going? So the crack is this. On March 31st, we had a 20-day expected market time, an all-time low for Orange County. For all of Orange County, the amount of inventory based upon pending, I don't do based upon sold, but escrow activity, 20 days expected market time. June 9th, we were at, last Thursday, 45 days. So we grew from 20 to 45 days. So over 3 weeks extra that's taking houses to sell. Last year, we were at 22 days at this time period. The 3-year average is 71 days. We're just trying to make our way towards average. Still under that. 41 is still really hot reading. So understand that. And Laguna Hill is at a 26-day expected market time. I don't have it on here, so I can't show you what it was 3 weeks ago, but March 31st. Know that on March 31st, it was a lot lower. And Mission Viejo is at 32-day expected market time as of last Thursday. Lake Forest is at 35 days. Ranch Santa Margarita is at 34 days. And Coto de Caza is at 76 days. Ladera Ranch is at 28 days. San Juan's at 34. Dana Point's at 91 days. Laguna Niguel's at 51 days. Aliso Viejo's at 32 days. It's taken right off my report. Now, what's interesting about this is, like, at the beginning of this year, I live in Ladera Ranch. Ladera had a 90-day expected market time. 3 homes on the market. Ranch Santa Margarita had 3 homes on the market. Aliso Viejo had 3 homes on the market. 9 homes on the market between those 3 giant cities. Mission Viejo had 11. A lot more Mission Viejo. 3 times as many. Now we're dealing with, like, product. There's more homes on the market, and that's the big difference. It's matched with muted demand, so it's starting to slow a little bit, but anything below 40 is considered still insane. And South Orange County is still insane if you price it right. It will sell really fast. So anything below 90 is considered a seller's market. We're well below that. Anything below 60 is considered a hot seller's market. We're still well below that, but where are we? Look at the direction we're going with this. In between 90 and 120 is actually called balance. It's equilibrium. That's kumbaya. Kumbaya is where buyers and sellers need to get along and figure out what the value is, what the price should be, and negotiate. You know, I just heard that there was a recent escrow where there was a seller was paying for buyers' closing costs. I haven't heard that in 3 years. That's normal. That's a normal market, by the way. And between that, above 120 to 150 is a slight buyer's market. Above 150 is a deep buyer's market. We were above a 400-day expected market time during the Great Recession start, when we were coming down 30% in value. So below 60 is hot. Below 40 is insane. But for Orange County, look at where we're at. We're above 40, so we're no longer insane for the county. As a matter of fact, all of Southern California is no longer insane. And where are we going from here? It's only going to push up. And I actually think we're going to get towards a balanced market by the end of this year. So, which means you really are going to have to price right, and then you're going to have to get out your best negotiation skills and figure this thing out. It's going to tap your best expert advice. And home values right now are climbing still. And I also know that that there's really no top yet to this. I don't see a top to this, but I'm starting to see some headwinds that could potentially blow him backwards. And that is this rise in interest rates. It continues to go up. It's definitely, prices are going to come down because it's just getting to affordability place where you just don't have as many buyers in the marketplace. The only ones winning are the ones that reduce price. And then it'll get to a point where it would be more favorable for buyers to enter. I'm not forecasting that yet, but what I'm saying is that with interest rates at above 6%, that's where we're at in Orange County. So, and you can see it right here. Beginning of this year with the $4,000 per month, 10% down, just principal and interest. So you wanted $4,000 per month for that. You're looking at $1,021,000 house. Now today, I don't even have it on this chart, $741,000 house. This is eating into purchasing power. This is huge, right? I'll give you a second to take pictures. This is a good one too. Say, snap this one too. This is payment on $1 million home. So 10% down, you're looking at $3,917 per month versus now $5,396 per month. Big change, right? That's a giant change on a monthly basis. Extrapolate this out for a year, and people are saying, I'd rather go to Cancun 3 times than do this. So that's what's happening. So as housing slows, when will prices drop? That's the big question. There's a lot of negative feedback that's out there. Realtor.com was the first to this party, which is not owned by NAR, I want you to know. And I wanted to debate these economists. Now they're going to look like they're right, but they said home prices have begun falling. Here are the cities where they're down the most. And this was like 2 months ago. And they said LA was one of them, which is, it wasn't. The city of LA, which it wasn't. And Fortune, we're in a historically overvalued housing market. These cities could see home prices drop 10%, Moody's says. And another housing bubble, we're skating close to one, says Realtor.com economists. These kind of headlines just make me feel, because they're not really looking at fundamentals. They don't talk about fundamentals of housing and who they're, when they're quoting everybody, they're not talking about the right stuff. Instead, we're shifting. Like I said, we were insanely driving down the 5 freeway, and it is shifting. 40 miles per hour just feels really slow. And that's where we're headed for really quickly. That's going to be this summer. It's going to feel like 40 miles per hour. And then later on this year, it's gonna feel like we have to negotiate, that things aren't gonna sell instantly. And values are gonna go from double digits, 20%. The next reading is for the month of, I think we did January, February, March. And the next one's gonna be for April. And I think that's gonna be an even higher one than the latest print, which we had an all-time high. It's gonna go from 20% down to 5% annualized. That's a slowdown, but it's still going forward. It's not going in reverse. I'm not talking about reverse yet. But if I see more inventory and I see demand continue to fall, then I can see it. Right now, I don't see it in the data, but we have to wait for these new interest rates to take hold. Because there's still a missing ingredient. I told you it's supply, and I told this is the supply on the left-hand side. This is where we are right now today. I draw a line across 3,000 homes is very little compared to the Great Recession. That's a Himalaya. That's what that is. See what I did? Overlaid that. Looks like a Himalaya. And that was 18,000 homes was the peak up there. And the average peak from 2012 through 2019 was 7,200 homes. So we're at 3,000 right now. So we have a long way to go to get towards that kind of average. And that was matched against really muted demand too. So we're talking about muted demand, but we're also talking like 3,000 homes up there. So I don't know where we're going to get these listings. I have no idea where these listings are going to come from. So I've looked, and there's going to be nobody panicking. The only people that should panic are the people that are like investors that have hard money loans. Those are the people that should be contacting a realtor, placing their homes in the market yesterday, because that's going to change really fast. So market overview, forbearance. Know that forbearance continues to go down on a monthly basis. It's 689,000 right now, according to Black Knight. 93% have at least 10% plus equity in their house, which means they can sell if they have to. 4.3 million was the greatest number of people in forbearance at one time in June of 2020. 8.1 million forbearances. That's how many people took advantage of forbearance so far. And what happened to 7.4 million people that exited? Well, 58% or 4.3 million are performing, means they lump sum, pick a payment plan, they have a payment plan, or they deferred it to the end. That's these people. Another, this is they paid it off, which means they're probably sold. That is, if you add it up, 91%, either performing or sold. Then these people just came out of forbearance. This has actually been dropping. It's at 333,000. It's 4%. They have to figure out which piece of the pie they go to. And removed into delinquent, 295,000 across the United States, and a number that are in foreclosure right now that were in forbearance before, 82,000. This is not a wave, not even close to a wave. So it's not going to happen. And national delinquency rate is at the lowest since they've started tracking this in the 90s. The lowest delinquency rate. So we haven't seen a delinquency rate this low. No foreclosure wave. It's not going to happen. So in case Schiller went up 20.6% nationally. That came out for the month of March. That's January, February, March together. Next one comes out is February, March, April. That one's going to be even higher. And then we're going to start to get prints that are even lower after that. But 20.6%. That's the highest ever. And as far as Orange County is concerned, year over year, total sales down 22%. So we're doing 1/5 fewer. And compared to 2019, we're actually up 5% this time. Hard to believe, everybody that I'm hearing out there, but compared to 2018, we're down 4%. So we're similar to 2018. So this is slowly but surely changing. And luxury is still surging. And this is luxury. At the beginning of last year, the top 10% was 1.5 million plus. I did it for all of 2021. Now it's 2 million plus. And same thing with LA. Or San Diego went from 1.25 to 1.5 million plus. So this is the orange is this year so far, and it's actually up 8%. That's shrinking. Last year was a record year. This year is so far a record year. It won't be, because luxury has caught a cold. I can see it in demand numbers. So demand's actually slowing down for luxury because of what's going on with volatility of the stock market. That's what affects luxury more than anything else. And it's definitely happening right now. So how will 2022 play out? Well, frustrated buyers not as willing to stretch as year progresses. This is actually from September of last year. This was taken up in the forecast. As rates rise, sellers will not get away with overpricing, especially the second half of the year. And then rates between 5 and 6.5%. This is where I was wrong in my report. Every economist was. It's very hard to forecast where interest rates are going to be. Available homes, ultra low until second half of the year, and demand down year over year, and total sales down 20 to 25% compared to 2021. 2021 was the best year since 2005, and volume wise, it was the #1 year ever in Orange County. So values to rise between 10 and 12% by year end. Distress rises slightly, no wave. Luxury continues to soar first half of the year, but decelerates as the year progresses. And then normal housing cycle. And that's where you go, reportsonhousing.com to subscribe. And I'll send you out the most recent one. And this comes out every 2 weeks, $50 a month, $150 per year, you get a free month if you sign up utilizing this thing. And I do have a housing debrief I do every Thursday. And after I go dark during July because I actually don't present for the month of July. I spend some time with the family. Facebook.com, reports on housing, or reports on housing on YouTube. I prefer you go to YouTube, like and subscribe. The reason why is because then we can counter some of the negative stuff that's out there, the more people that get out there. I'm not interested in paid by YouTube. I'm interested in properly setting expectations, remember? So, and we do have a free content section now of our website. You can go there and there's a whole bunch of different articles that we have. We actually do, and it's something called The Scoop. And that's what this is called. We do Southern California, you can download it for free. April recap and all this stuff. There's actually a place for somebody to sponsor it. Just haven't gone after that yet, but it's $10 per month for you can customize one of the counties, but you have to be a subscriber to do this. And you get your own picture and different things you could say. This will be updated on a monthly basis for you. So now I can open up questions and answers. Does anybody want to subscribe that didn't subscribe in this room? The one taking the copious notes. If you want to subscribe, they'll be right up here. Any questions that we have? Anybody? Yes.
Some questions from Zoom.
Yes.
Is the median income the same as the household income?
The median income of, yes, that's median household income that I use on that chart. That's correct.
Okay, and then do you have market time for Huntington, Costa Mesa, or Newport?
I do.
Okay.
I do, but it's on the report. So I'm not gonna, I have every single city in Orange County. I have every single city in all of Southern California. And San Diego and Los Angeles, I break down the giant cities of San Diego and LA into all their communities because they stretch from Mexico up to Canada. That's how big those cities are. That's it. So you have to subscribe, you can get the rest of those. Yes.
So you mentioned as of June 9th, there's 3,059 homes for sale in Orange County.
Yes. Yes. Finally, we're above 3,000 threshold.
Want to guess how many realtors there are?
More than 3,000. Any other questions?
I got another Zoom.
Yes.
If somebody purchased last month, will they see their value technically drop this year?
Well, I am not Nostradamus. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I'm not. I can't tell you exactly. Right now, we're not in a buyer's market. We're still in the seller's market. What I was saying is those people that are overpaying right now, like today, there's still people. I heard somebody in Redondo Beach 2 weeks ago paid $200,000 above the asking price. I do not subscribe to that at all right now. Right now, I would cool my jets. And if I was an investor, I'd come into the market probably in September. If I was a buyer, I would pick off anybody that's reduced their price or that's been in the market for longer than 30 days. Those people are more vulnerable. There'll be a lot more of them coming. And those are the people you can negotiate with. Hopefully, some of them are so unrealistic that you'll just have to kick them the curb, but at least you'll have products to go show clients and look at. But yeah, I would not overpay. Those are the people that are going to get stuck. If you pay the fair market value, you're still doing fine. As a matter of fact, fair market value is still going up right now. So fair market value, the last comp sold 500,000, the next one sells at 505. Maybe, but not $540,000. That was what the market was doing for a long time. And that's what some people are pricing it at, 550. They're coming on the market, they're sitting, and they come down to 525. And they come on the market sitting, and they realign it at 505 or 500 where they should be. And then they're not getting a lot of activity because they ruined their market. marketing ability. They're market worn. So that's what it is. Any other questions? Yeah.
So if somebody was a buyer and they bought a new build, so they don't have a price to negotiate, are they, and it's not built yet, do they overpay if the escrow's coming?
Typically, the way that it's working is it's taken so long that whenever they purchased, unless they purchased like within the last month, but now I know that builders across the United States, we're starting to see incentives, we're starting to see price drops, we're starting to see that stuff, because builders, you hear about this gigantic inventory of new builds across the United States. The new build inventory includes properties that are not yet even started. So the true number that are completed is at the lowest of all time a month ago. It went up just a little bit. It's still at a very, very low level. But as more of those are built and they start to sit, there's some interesting areas that are having problems like Florida, like Austin, different areas like that, like Nashville. They'll be sitting on stuff that will be built and will sit and they'll have to reduce price. And if you're competing against that, you're gonna have to adjust. We don't really have that big of an issue here in Orange County because there's not a whole heck of a lot. But if I was out in Rancho Mission Viejo, I would definitely take a look and know who your competition is, see what they're doing out there, because that's really important.
I have trouble pricing if the last listing, let's say, was 149 and somebody paid 200,000 over, does it really make sense to list the next one at the 200,000 over?
That's my argument. And that's why you're having that thought. Everybody's having that thought, because what is happening is the next person's coming in at 1.6 and they might have just got that just closed. And now the market's going, yeah, I don't want it. I'm looking at the other comps. That just doesn't make sense. So, and you're doing the same thing right now. It becomes more of an issue as this year progresses. So that is, that's why you need to get on the market right now, so that, yeah, in between 1.4 and 1.6, you can probably get a little bit more right now. But as this year continues to unfold, you're not going to get away with it at all. Matter of fact, it's going to have to come back down, maybe towards that 1.425 or something that you probably can list it at and get it, versus the 1.6.
That's where I have trouble, because I'm like, yeah, that's a comp, but that's not really a comp. Somebody got crazy.
Yeah, you can use the technical term called an outlier, O-U-T-L-I-E-R. What that means is that you got all these different comps, and there's one that goes like way up here, or there's one that comes way down here. Those are called outliers. A lot of times appraisers, they look at that stuff and scrape that stuff away so that they can see what the values are at. We're not having a problem with appraisals right now, by the way. That's not an issue, which means people are still overpaying. But I would be extremely careful if I was a seller, because I know how buyers are approaching this market. They are very, very shrewd. They do not want to repeat of the Great Recession, so they're being extremely careful in this market. And I would explain that to them, because if they're selling and they're going to go purchase something, they're going to be in that same boat. Are they going to want to pay that house that went up to $200,000? It's a comp down the road, when you can go one city over and it's not yet done that. So maybe I'll just go buy that instead. So now you're going to have to show overall what the market's doing to help illustrate that. That might be a real outlier, and I don't want to waste market time. Stephen warned me about these overpriced listings that are coming. So yeah, it's going to be very, very challenging. It's going to take shrewd discussions, and we're just going to have to pour over the comps. It's not like it was over the last 2 years.
Like, you've seen the numbers of supplier reduce this market and close to 6%.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but because it just did it. So it's not yet my numbers. My numbers were as of last Thursday. So I'll see what it does to the overall marketplace, because I'm also, like I said, I'm looking at many markets at the same time. So I'm looking at Bay, Vegas, Phoenix. Phoenix is the hottest market in the United States, and Vegas. So I'm going to look at all. But I imagine that it's going to further disrupt things. It can only disrupt things further, because we're looking at, I showed you what the affordability chart was for Orange County. What's it do to it as rates go up higher? Makes it more unaffordable. This is exactly what the Fed wants, by the way. The Fed wants to slow this puppy down. And even if it, comes down a little bit, they know that the market is healthy enough to absorb it. Because if it's what it's going to do, it's going to pick through all the homes that are on the market, and a lot of homeowners are just going to say, I'm not participating, and pull their homes off the market. Where only if people really have to sell, And that's what we're gonna be left with, which is gonna mute our inventory. So you can see this inventory problem still being an issue on the other side of this, until we have more inventory and until we get above 4 months expected market time above 4 months for duration for a long period of time, we're not gonna get any prices coming down. And we're still at 45-day expected market time. Right now.
Well, I think what you will see is that now you're 6.25. It's gonna take a quarter to know the effect of it. How people react to it. Whether to buy this house at 6.1%. Investors are gonna pay that money.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So I talked to a lender this morning who said she actually talked to her clients who wrote up an offer. They got the offer. They said, I just need to know what my payment's gonna be. They told them what the payment is as of this morning, which is higher. They're locking today. And he goes, yeah, it's fine. I'm fine with that payment, and it's going forward. So it just depends upon the buyer. But who's gonna struggle the most? It's not the middle income, it's the entry level buyers that are gonna struggle the most. That's where they're gonna get hit the hardest. So I'm interested to see what happens in the lower ranges. So far, nothing. But I'm seeing it slow down. The all ranges are slowing down, but I'm not seeing all of a sudden the lower ranges catastrophically changing. And that's the shift that I'm looking for. Haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so now she had me thinking, so is this accurate? There's approximately 47,000 workers?
No.
California, there's 200,000.
Yeah, and in Orange County,
Like
18.
yeah, but they're not all working. I mean, I have license, I don't use it. So it's probably closer to what that active.
2,000 in this association, but there's a lot of associations.
Yeah.
So we have 40,000 so far, and there's PWR.
But it doesn't matter. So the ones that are in this room, the ones that are doing their homework, the ones that are getting out and crushing it on a daily basis, the people that do all their prospecting, ones that are getting a hold of all their clients and seeing, shaking some trees and saying, hey, the market's still good, but it's about to change. What do you want to do? Call everybody and keep on doing it over and over. We'll work open houses. Those are the people that are going to win. I got in the market in 1991. I didn't know any better. I was knocking on doors in the middle of a recession. Didn't really matter. Why? Because I didn't know any better. This is a good market to learn in. If you're brand new, perfect. This is a great market. So just go out there and do it because you don't know any better. And then all of a sudden everyone's going, what you doing? Well, I'm just working. I'm not complaining about the market and talking about it over coffee. We used to sit there in the coffee room. I don't know. We don't even go to the coffee room anymore. So instead, you just go onto the web. There's plenty of negativity out there, especially on Twitter. I put one thing up and there's 5 billion people that are on Wall Street that tell me what a knucklehead I am. So, but I have thick skin. I know who they are.
Thank you, Stephen. I know you kind of said this already, but if you're an investor in the Orange County market, and they said, Stephen, should we buy now or wait till the end of the year? And whatever your answer is in layman terms, what would be the simple reasons you say?
Yeah, I'm waiting till September, October for the market to digest everything that's going on right now. So they can figure out this is the marketplace. Because right now we're still dealing with froth and unrealistic expectations of sellers. It needs to catch up. It takes 6 months at least for that to happen. So we've been dealing with this thing for a while. By the time we get to October, we'll have an real opportunity to digest everything. Because we've been dealing with this probably since April, where it really started to change. And at that point, it's just going to be more realistic people, and also those properties I told you that are like dogs, that those are the ones that need work. They need investors to come in, fix them all up, and you could still fix and flip. Even in this kind of a marketplace, always you could fix and flip. It's going to take time to get there. And when they do that, they can get a better price for the property, especially the people that are sitting on a vacant property that needs work. They're going to have to do something. And they're not going to get market value. It's going to take an investor to go in there, be shrewd, and get the right price.
How do you, speaking of investors here, how do you see all these advertisements for these iBuyers? Call us and we'll give you a price today, tell us the number of rooms, and how do you see that affecting the market?
Well, Open Door is reducing their prices like crazy across the board. They've had to reduce their price. They have a model that they're not all, they go negative really fast as far as profitability is concerned. Zillow tried it late and they were the worst at it. I could see it way back when that they were way overpaying for properties. Are they going to get the cream of the crop? real estate folk to run their business so that they can properly price things and get things at the right, and are they gonna pay them right? No. So who are they gonna attract? They're gonna attract people that won't do that, so that in these kind of markets, this is where they get hurt, burned. And so that's where I can see the potential hurt and burn from them. They're still out there. There will always be there, but there's always been. I've been dealing with this for a very, very long time, since 91. There's always been, this person's doing this person's doing that, this company's doing that. It's always been a thing, but it's not that big of a deal. We just go out there. There's plenty of people that don't want to do that. There's people that want to gravitate towards those people, and those are the people you don't want to work with, because they're gonna just grind you down. Yeah. Who wants to work with those people? I worked with one, and I knew I shouldn't have worked with her. She was in Rancho Santa Margarita. She was the most painful person. I put the thing in escrow in 2 weeks, but I still had to deal with her for another like 6 weeks after that. And it was a nightmare. I shouldn't have taken a listing. It wasn't worth it. Made my hair turn white.
Okay, so we have President Adam Rodell has a comment for you. Piggybacking on the quote, sellers are in love with their loans, not homes.
That's Adam's the one that told me that, by the way.
He says, I heard that 91% of the loans in the US are under 5%. It's gonna be hard for those folks to give up their loans for sure.
I don't have a stat on that. That doesn't sound accurate. And that doesn't sound accurate at all. I speak to a lot of lenders. There's a lot more sizable down payments to the system. It's not.
Interest rates, right?
Yeah, he's talking about
Oh, he's
interest
talking about
rates
interest rate. I thought you said down.
under 5%. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones.
The sizable, everybody has interest rates well below 5% or lower. The vast majority has them below 4%. In the 3s or 2s. My dentist has one at 2.6%. I told him he's never moving. And I told him that 3 weeks ago when I saw him. Now he's really not moving. He is really not going anyplace. He's happy. He said he's never going anyplace, but you know, his wife all of a sudden said, this is getting to be too small, but I don't see, might be in the market.
Rent it out.
It's exactly what I told a lot of people. Yeah. Sometimes I'm working for us, sometimes I'm working against us. So it depends upon the situation, but a lot of people, if you're moving across the United States, I don't advise holding on to your property here unless you think you can move back. But if you're moving locally, yeah, it might be a smart move to hold your townhome, rent it out, and go purchase it.
What is the percentage of homes that are being purchased by first-time home buyers versus institutional investors or income properties?
Well, the investment properties is definitely coming down. It was, we were running a little bit hot at the very beginning of the year. All the quotes from January. January was off because January is the slowest month of the year in terms of closings. So who's going to close in January? Investors. So they took that litmus test back then and it was like 22%, but it's really closer to about 18%. And that number's going down right now of investors. As far as first-time home buyers, I don't have the exact stat. That's an NAR and CAR thing that every once in a while I follow and I say it, but I don't have it in my head. I couldn't even take a stab at that right now. I can tell you this right now, first-time home buyers, this is a good time to be one in the marketplace, but it's harder to afford something. So that's gonna play into this whole entire thing.
Why is it a good time to do that?
It's good. There's more product to go see. And there's a lot of first-time home buyers that are sitting with lenders and they're saying, okay, we both have a dual income and this is how much we make, how much can we afford? And then they look at the payment and they look at see what kind of house, they start searching and they go, okay, I'm gonna do it. That's what's happening even today. And those are the buyers you wanna work with today because they have no idea what the market's done. They see the interest rates right now. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. They've heard all about it, but a lot more expensive. But at the end of the day, those are the buyers that you wanna work with because they're very, very stoked to purchase. They're happy to be around. They're happy when they close. They're happy during the process. I like to work with happy people. So brand new buyers in the marketplace today, those are people.
That's all for me.
That's it. Any other questions? I'll be here afterwards if you have any more questions. Thank you so much.